Bose released a successor to one of our all-time favorite headphones, the QuietComfort 35. We're excited about the QuietComfort 45, but also a bit confused. It's not the successor to Bose's current flagship, the noise-canceling headphone 700. So what is it?
Goedendag, we're DHRME. Dashing headphone reviewers making me ecstatic.
These headphones look like polar opposites, and this can be seen by their distinctively different design elements. Let's talk about a few of them. First off, the 700s are made predominantly out of stainless steel, whereas the QC45 is plastic. So the 700 is about 100 grams heavier than the QC45. But what it also means is that the 700s can't be folded up, unlike the QC45s. So if you're looking for an overall portable option, the QC45s make more sense. But if premium and stronger materials are more your jam, the 700s don't disappoint. Except for a little bit of wear around the headband where they slide across the ear cups. The QC45s don't have these sliding parts, so it will probably be less of an issue. But with all wear and tear issues, time is the only true test. Both headphones aren't really water resistant, which is strange, but that's where we're at this stage with headphones. It's such a shame when you spend hundreds of dollars on a pair of headphones, but can't risk a little bit of rain when you go out for a walk or a bike ride. Despite the 700s taking up a larger case footprint and more weight, the QC45s last longer. Size does not matter when it comes to battery life because you get 20 hours on the 700s and 24 hours on the QC45s. Another changed design element is all about Bose appealing to the touchy-feely and the button pushers amongst us. The 700s sport just 3 buttons and do the rest with a touch surface on the right ear cup for basic controls like play, pause, answer hang-up calls, volume, skip tracks, etc. But if you, like us, like the reliability of physical buttons and the ability to operate them while wearing gloves, then we're glad to say that the QC45s remain a solid option. Having said that, the Bose 700's B-Spot has one of the most responsive touch controls in the industry with no latency at all.
Now, after knowing about the B-Spot, you probably want to know more about the cupping. The Bose QuietComfort live up to what they claim in their name. They are comfy. The padding on the cups are plush and the cups themselves have plenty of space for those precious conchas. Despite the 700s not having comfort in their model name, they are equally comfortable. Due to the weight, however, you might notice the tiny bit of heft to it when moving around. The 700s have less space in the cups, so they feel like they're touching my ears more than the QC45s are. The clamping though is definitely harder on QC45, but that might just be because our Bose 700 is a very well tested and used headphone. However, neither Bose puts pressure on the crown. Noise.
We found the volume levels to be very similar on the Bose brothers. However, on Android, the QC45 controls the native volume of your phone or tablet, whereas the 700 has its own volume independent of the volume on your phone. So we like the QC45 experience better here. On the iPhone, it's a level playing ground as both the headphones control the native volume.
When it comes to sound, the Bose 700 are much warmer. It's a more relaxed sound and more focused on the mids. The bass on both is very similar, but the QC45s do seem to have slightly more extension to it. There's also a little bit of bloat in the high bass or low mids on the 700s, which the QC45 surprisingly manages to avoid. And keeping with the sonic trends of today, the higher frequencies are very clearly pronounced on the QC45. For me though, it's taking some time getting used to, especially for longer periods and higher volumes. Also on voices, there's a slight metallic tinge, and sometimes due to the exaggeration, hi-hats can end up sounding thin, bordering on shrill and sibilant, especially with worse recordings. When it comes to timbre, the QC45s do well with jazz and classical. Warm jazz recordings are more flattering on the Bose 700, and violins and strings sound surprisingly good on both. Distorted lead guitars have more of a bite on the QC45, but for metal rhythm guitar, I just enjoy the Bose 700 more. Whether it be the chugging from 1990's Megadeth's Train of Consequences or the multi-string guitars from 2014's Animals as Leaders Cascade. The soundstage sounds a little bit wider on the Bose 700, and the biggest advantage that the Bose 700 have in terms of sound is the EQ adjustment options in the Bose Music app. Notably though, even after EQing, the Bose 700 still doesn't get as trebly or sparkly as the QC45 does. Overall, the QC45 is not too bad at all, especially when you realize that it's cheaper than the Bose 700.
As true gentlemen, we're gonna let you listen to how the microphone on these headphones sound in different conditions before giving you our take. Happy testing. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. Pop pop popsicle, ice ice icicle, test test testing, 1 2 3. In our opinion, the Bose 700 wins. Period. They do relatively better than the QC45 in terms of clarity in the voice, the volume of the voice, and how much of the background noise or wind it's able to suppress. Now, where does that leave the QC45? They're a pair of headphones we wouldn't mind picking up for phone calls since you can hear the other person well enough in all conditions. You can also adjust the amount of self-voice so you don't look like a crazy person shouting to your headphones in the middle of a street. Where the QC45 does take the slight edge over the 700 is in the Fachmann controls. Both can answer, hang up, adjust volume, and mute calls, but the QC45 takes it up a notch by allowing you to answer a second incoming call and put the first one on hold. You can even switch between those two calls, and there's more. You can merge two ongoing calls into a single conference call. If that ain't Fachmann headphones, then we don't know what is.
Let's talk a little bit more about the app where those ANC adjustments are found. We can say that the Bose 700 offer more adjustment options than the QC45, which basically means that you have adjustment options. The 700 can adjust ANC on a 10-point scale, have up to 3 favorites, whereas the QC just switches between quiet and aware in the voice of a stern school teacher. So many other headphones offer smart pause, meaning that the headphones pause audio when you take them off and resume when you wear them again. Unfortunately, neither of these Bose headphones offer that functionality. Disappointing to those of us with audio FOMO. However, when there is a voice notification, they do pause your audio, which I think is a really nice touch. You don't end up missing this 2 or 3 seconds of audio when it's saying quiet or aware or Bluetooth connected. So that's a really nice feature. If you plan on using either headphones with 2 devices at the same time, like a laptop and a phone, then it's definitely possible. You just need to be aware that audio can be played from one device at a time, and you can switch between them by pausing on one and then playing on the other. They seemed to work flawlessly when we tested them with an Android phone and MacBook, but we did have a few hiccups when both were Apple products. We noticed that the headphones were connected to both devices, but sometimes failed to play audio on an Instagram reel, for example, and needed either a reconnect or hitting play on Spotify to get it to work. A bit odd, but it did eventually work.
Let's also tell you a little bit about what you get in the case in terms of accessories. Very simple, a USB Type-C cable for charging and an audio cable. Always happy with the Type-C, but that audio cable though, it's slightly disappointing to see that Bose still doesn't provide standard 3.5 to 3.5 millimeter, but instead a 2.5 to 3.5 millimeter. It's a nitpick, but we thought you'd like to know. Using the headphones while they're turned off is possible though, for both models. AirPods Max. When you're done talking with the outside world and want to get lost in your own little world, then active noise cancelling can get you a step closer. But again, because you guys trust us way too much, we want you to have a listen for yourselves to how the noise cancelling and transparency modes sound on these headphones in a simulated cafe and airplane environment.
Aware. Aware.
It's clear here that we are talking about some heavy weights in the noise cancelling space, but between the Boses, we've got to give it to the Bose 700 again. They cancel out slightly more noise and let in more noise in transparency mode compared to the QC45. Remember, you won't be disappointed with the QC45, but when you A/B test them like we did, you notice the difference. We also noticed that the transparency mode on the 700 is so much better. It is the closest feeling to not wearing headphones with minimal white noise. The QC45 still reminds you that you have headphones on, and the white noise is more apparent. In terms of noise cancelling customization, the 700 has a 10-point scale in the app, ranging from transparency to full noise cancelling. The QC45, on the other hand, keeps it minimalistic with two options, either quiet for ANC or aware for transparency mode. Nothing more, nothing less. This has its own charm since we rarely find the need for fine-grained ANC adjustments. Interestingly, you can't just turn either of these modes off either, so you cannot have a normal mode without any kind of noise cancelling or ambient sound.
So, it's time for to buy or not to buy. You should buy the Bose QC45 over the Bose 700 if you want a slightly lighter and more comfortable wearing experience. If you want to save yourself a little bit of money, check the links in the description for latest prices. If you want an overall smaller case footprint for better portability. If you need that extra couple of hours in battery life. If you're a button pusher and prefer those good old tactile pushy clicky buttons.
You should buy the Bose 700 over the Bose QC45 if you need those extra customization options in the app for EQ and ANC levels. If you want better active noise cancelling and transparency mode. If you want that slight edge in the sound signature after EQing, if you want to make a fashion statement with a modern and sleek design, and if you're a touchy-feely kind of person, enjoy a reliable and responsive touch surface for the basic touch controls. You've been listening to our verbose Bose comparison, and we've been DHRME. Namaste.